Good evening and welcome to the Sheetalnath Conversation Sunday evening show. A show which holds the visible trail of almost half a century interactions held with the eminent personalities, eminent visitors who have been able to catapult us through their wisdom, through their knowledge, through their experience to the civilizational shades and civilizational colors to which we all belong to. Kashmir. Kashmir, the pinnacle and cathedral of Indian civilization. So it is, in a way, we can say that today I also want to tell that this program is slightly different from the conventional programs because we are very used to those interview kind of programs since last 4 or 5 decades. And this program is a conversation based program where two people conversate, the host and the guest, they conversate with each other, and the guest speaks about his experiences, and then we together swim into the experiences of the guest, and then we ramble around and open up to the wider audience, the wider spectators, and they are able to go deeper, dive deeper into the entire expression which the speaker, which the guest conversationalist tries to convey. In a way, the two conversationists and the conversation becomes the one thing. So that is how we try to open it and do it in a very humble way. It's not a very stereotype of a program, and certainly it will not be a mechanical question and answer type of the sessions. So that is how it is. And I would like to say that I remember one of the great couplet of Ghalib. uh, what is it now? I've forgotten. Just a minute. I'll just. गमे हस्ती गमे हस्ती का असद किससे हो जुजमर्ग इलाज. गमे हस्ती का असद, असद गालिब को कहते हैं, उनका तखल्लुस है. गमे हस्ती का असद किससे हो जुजमर्ग इलाज, शम्मा हर रंग में जलती है सहर होने तक. So that is the obsession we and our team has for this program. We'll continue doing it till the time we don't get exhausted. And this is a wonder narrative. Conducted by in beautiful anecdotes by the dignitaries and the visitors and the actors and the directors and the literatures and the painters and the artists, all contributing one way or the other way to this entire bandwagon, entire thrust area for which it is being conducted. I'm reminded of Dario Fo, the Italian director and playwright. He says that a theater, a theater, a literature, and an artistic expression, if it doesn't tell about the time through which it passes, time through which it owns, it is nothing but a waste of time. So coming to myself, after a pretty long time, I'm going to tell that in a splinter, as a splinter polymath, I have been, ambivalent person who has gone into the fields, forays of literature, art, poetry, and television. But predominantly, I was a very active performer on stage, probably for a very long decades, 2 3 decades, and it was with the Natrang, the International Theatre Group, right from the inception days. And then later on, I also was a very old, theatre critic of the state. I mean, it's almost 4 decades have passed by that I have been doing this theatre criticism. So what beholds me today is the performer and the performance. I mean, in ancient times, and I don't mean ancient times, I mean the earlier times of our lives, when we used to see Dilip Kumar in Ganga Jamna, in Sangharsh, or we used to see him in Mughal-e-Azam. I mean, certainly those performances were spectacular. You could see Devanand in his stylistic sector in this R.K. Narayanan's that novel, which was filmed by Goldie, his younger brother, that guide. And then you see the Godfather, you see this this Marlon Brando and Al Pacino in Godfather Part and Part Third, and number of things like you can see the Tootsie, Kramer versus Kramer, the actor like Dustin Hoffman, the greatest actor, and the Steve McQueen, one of my favorite. I have never left his film since I was in pre-university days. And so to say that my last play, which was in English, that was my predominantly people used to call me Steve McQueen jaise lagte ho yaar. So all these things have a very impressioning. Teen Ki Talwar, you can go to the stage and see the Utpal Dutt's performance, see the Manohar Singh's performance in that Girish Karnad's Tughlaq at the NST Prangan. Spectacular. And we have heard even the Parsi theatre time, Michael Maksudan and great actors when films haven't arrived. Great performances used to happen. So that in a way, is something which is very fascinating. I mean, even Stanislavski says something very great about it. Stanislavski, the personality who was given the method acting. Method acting was always there, but he created a school of preparation of an actor and method acting. Even such a great personality, such a great actor and a director of Russian, who amazed the entire world. He even says that without this improvement, ennobling of yourself, you should flee the theater. If you don't become a better person, you should flee the art. Nowadays, we are in a state of dilemma, in oxymoron. We see the places surrounded by these institutions, by the mediocre people, and they talk about all, and there is scheming, there is other things. But basically, as an artist, you become a better person. Unless and until you become a better person, you are not an artist. So they have a connection. You can see our olden days when the theater was not professional, institutions were not there, but yet people performed with honesty. And those were the great performances in rural areas and other areas. So I will not go much. I have to go. I mean, I can go on and on this subject because I belong to this side. But today we have a great privilege to have with us a wonderful personality, a great performer, a noble performer as per Stanislavski's spirit, a noble performer in the medium of theater, television, and cellulite. He is a big name. His performances are remarkable, and they are well known, and is a well acclaimed personality in all the three fields. So we are going to get into his life, his times, and about his. We're going to talk about his art, his odyssey of life, and then his transcendence from one state of medium to another state of medium. But primarily, we are going to also to take him to Kashmir, the valley of Kashmir, the gregarious, blooming Kashmir, flowery Kashmir, and talk about his reminiscences, his nostalgia, and his lessening from his formative years, which were spent in Kashmir. So that is how it is, and we are very much delighted and privileged that he's with us. So, without wasting much time, let's welcome the great personality Lalit Parimoo ji, the legendary theater, television, and film performer and personality, a writer. He has another wonderful dimension, that is, he's a spiritual seeker, and I don't know. It's very wide term to call anybody spiritual seeker, but he has been utilizing these spiritual understanding and spiritual achievements into the field of art and acting and other things. So, with great reverence and affection, let's welcome into studio Shri Lalit Parimoo ji, one of our great native who has done wonderful work in all these wonderful fields. Lalit ji, you are welcome into Sheetalnath Conversations. We are almost
Namaskar, Namaskar, Jugalji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the lovely words, for the kind and wonderful introduction. And well, yes, it's a privilege to be part of this show. And I must congratulate you and the program, Sheetalnath Conversations, that you have achieved 50 episodes. That's a good news.
Thank you.
My good wishes to the show, to you, to your entire team. May it keep on moving on and reach 1,000 more.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
Thanks.
Lalit ji,
Thanks for calling.
Great good wishes. With an opening remark, we are a team. We still are together, but some of us are preoccupied with the time. But there's an obsession to do something, because all the time we have been doing everything for ourselves. This time we feel to do something for our society.
Before we go ahead, I must admire another part. That is the word conversation. I have always enjoyed conversations, and I have been an admirer of this term because since the times of Socrates, though the entire philosophy, because I have loved philosophy all my life, through conversations, all great talks have happened on this earth. And it's through conversations only that great ideas have been communicated to people, to students, to disciples. And I really liked the title of the show, Sheetalnath Conversations. And it's really, sometimes when a conversation happens between two people, it's really a great thing to happen. A real conversation is again a delight, is again a rare thing when two people are in sync with each other, when they are talking with same wavelength, with same frequency, and the listeners and the other people, or the entire result is something beyond the time.
Comprehension.
Yeah.
It is creative. It is something amazing which comes out.
Correct.
So
let's try to create a very good conversation today.
Let's hope so. I wish it will be, certainly it will be there. And I feel, first of all, before we go into the, streams of your amazing work in theater and then television and then cellulite, cellulite and television, now they are the same because there's a monitor in, films as well. But earlier times it was all on roll. So that time the film was slightly different. But now I don't know what is the much difference now. It's a long time since I have left Bombay. I was in Bombay once. So, but there's a lot much creativity going on. Brilliant people, brilliant makers are coming in. Beautiful stories are there. And it's a beautiful world, and certainly wonderful people are there like you. I would like to, before we begin ramble and crisscross joyously about your journey, your days in Kashmir. Let's go and the reminiscences of your days in Kashmir. Let's go to that that treasure trove that you still hold probably in your subconscious through your memories and reminiscences and impressions. What was those wonderful water bodies, those wonderful soulmates, those wonderful structures, attices, balconies, architecture, the river, the people around, the siblings, the lucidity, the simplicity, and the bonhomie, and the love, and the excursions, and the festivals, and your development as a person, as an artist in your school, the ideal people, the institutions. Let's open up to Kashmir and let's open and go down and swim into this treasure trove of yours. Please elucidate.
Yes. So when I go down the memory lane, when I go back and see my motherland, remember the days, I straight away go to late 60s, rather early 70s.
Alisa.
And the first thing, now you are like taking me into the memory lane. I remember the 1971 war as a child, the blackouts. And we generally used to go to temples. Ramakrishna temple was very close, but we lived in Bal Garden. Firstly, this is something to be shared. All my childhood has been spent in Bal Garden, where we lived, my parents and my...
Near Narsingar?
Yeah, near Narsingar. And my maternal uncle or my cousins, they lived in Karan Nagar. So our life revolved around Bal Garden and Karan Nagar in very early formative years.
That's wonderful.
And we had a nice house, as generally Kashmiri Pandit houses are 4-storied, 5-storied houses, and a small garden, kitchen garden also. And we had a lovely park close by. And then there was a bigger park named as Chandmari, which was some 2 kilometers away from our Bal Garden. And cricket was passion from very early days, like from 72, 73. I remember listening to the commentaries very, very keenly and very passionately, and the beginning of the early cricket days with our local Kashmiri guys, both Hindus and Muslims. We used to play there. And cricket had become an obsession when I was quite young, with my brother and with our cousins who lived close by. The lanes, very small lanes, I remember all that because we used to play cricket in those lanes.
Okay.
That is how I remember them. And then generally, you know, when you remember your ancestral house, you are reminding yourself of what we call as Kandru, the bakery shop.
Bakery
Your
shop.
visit to the bakery shop was always an interesting morning routine for sometimes me and sometimes my younger brother. And my school, I studied in Kendriya Vidyalaya School, which was nearly 1 hour distance from Bal Garden. And we had a wonderful schooling there, which was both in Hindi and English. And the students there were mostly the local Kashmiri people,
Which
but
school? Which school, sir?
Kendriya Vidyalaya. Kendriya
It's a
Vidyalaya.
KV. KV.
KV school,
I've
yeah,
studied
that
in
was in
national school.
Batwara.
I was in national school, very
Okay,
opposite
national
to yours.
school, yeah, national school was close by. But
Yeah.
Kendriya Vidyalaya was at some distance from Bal Garden.
Okay.
And there I had a very good schooling because it was a nice co-ed school where people from other states of the country also studied there. I mean, students from other states also studied there, mostly from the defense background, Air Force, Army,
Yeah, yeah.
Navy.
Those
And there
were
was an intermixture of students from across the country. And it was a very active school where debates, cultural activities, sports activities, they were all
happening.
organized there in a very nice way. See, a very important aspect of my early days of Kashmir is I can divide it into two phases from first to 10th. Like before my pre-matric or pre-10th, then post-10th, and then post-12th, I moved on. Till my
Okay.
class 10th, I was a very sincere and a hardworking student who was among the first four in the class. That
Oh, my.
was my,
Topper.
yeah, I was one of the toppers in my class. And my only passion was cricket. Apart from studies, I was a cricketer, and sometimes I used to dream of becoming a cricketer. I was a good wicketkeeper and a batsman, and
Oh,
I represented my school also as a wicketkeeper batsman. But in my mohalla, I was a captain and I was a bowler and I was an all-rounder in my mohalla. But in school, I was a wicketkeeper batsman for a long time.
okay.
But after 10th or nearly when I passed my 10th, I realized that cricket cannot be my career because I'm nowhere at a higher level. Like I could not represent under 16 or the other tournaments which were supposed to be for a person who could take up cricket as a career. So this is something very interesting. But my other part of studies, it was very strong till my class 10th. But after 10th, I experienced a remarkable change in my thinking. First
Transformation.
reason was that I was given a bicycle by my parents, and then I used to travel by bicycle to school, so I had some kind of independence. And we were in 11th and 12th, like in other schools of Kashmir, mostly students passed out from 10th, they went to the college, and they were like in pre-university and first year, and they used to wear their own. They didn't used to wear uniforms. So that was what was with students who studied in local schools and colleges. But with our plus two, ours were the first plus two batch in Kashmir.
First plus two.
That CBSE board had already begun.
Yeah.
So I used to go to school on bicycle, and then we used to have fun while traveling, which was in the sense going to a restaurant, having coffee. There was some kind of independence experiencing and watching cinema. That was the biggest change which happened to me. Till class 10, I was not at all a film watcher.
You
I
are not a
didn't,
film.
not at all, not at all. I never used to watch television also because I was not at all interested in it. But after 10th, the interest developed by watching films as if having some fun. Broadway theatre was very close to our school, and we had developed a habit of bunking classes because we were seniors now in 11th, then in class 12th. And then I used to watch films with my friends. That was how it began. My love for films. That is what happened after class 10th. And somehow my interest in engineering and medical science, which was generally the
chosen stream.
subjects. Yeah, everyone was into engineering and medicine, trying in this college, trying in that college, applying for either medical or non-medical, the way we used to discuss in Kashmir.
And the best stream used to
Medical,
go for
non-medical.
medical and non-medical.
Medical.
Best stream,
Yeah.
toppers.
But I had no love for it. I had actually stopped loving science. This change happened in class 11th and 12th, although I was studying science, but I didn't like science now. I didn't like studying science. I was thinking, what am I doing here? And the love for arts with films started. This was the beginning in 11th and 12th. And at the same time, what change happened, I had become a very strong daydreamer. This is a very important change that happened in my life. Now I remember that those dreams or those daydreams were not just daydreams. They were something from above giving me instructions what to do. I used to imagine myself performing a play. I used to imagine myself in Delhi. I used to imagine myself in Bombay, that I'm acting in cinema. I'm entering studios, lights are lit and I'm performing and I'm signing autographs. These kind of visuals used to trouble me actually, to be honest. They were the kind of visuals I used to think I have become a chef chili. I sometimes share with my friends that these kind of thoughts are coming to me and I don't know what to do. Somebody suggested me that you should go to FTI, take admission there. I got a book of how to take admission in FTI. I studied that also. But at the same time, there was one part of me which was saying that either there is something wrong with you. A man, a boy from a very simple, humble, middle class background with no big money, only middle class money. And all around me, people are studying engineering, doctorate, and planning to get a job and all after 4 or 5 years. And I am thinking of becoming a film actor. And the influence of the person was of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. So his films had actually shaken me up. And when I was thinking of all films, starting from Adalat and Amar Akbar Anthony, even Bombay to Goa. Yeah, all his...
not films. The romantic ones, Kabhi Kabhi and Silsila.
No, not the romantic ones. Not the romantic ones. His Angry Man films.
Yeah. Angry Man films, okay.
Yeah, his Angry Man films. But then very quickly, I started watching other actors also, and I realized that there are other great actors. Like very soon I discovered Dilip Saab and Balraj Sahni and even Motilal and others. And it just happened in a year or so. I just started watching films regularly. But Mr. Amitabh Bachchan is responsible for me becoming an actor because I was thinking that I can do something like him. What he is doing and why people are after him. He was a craze at that time. All youngsters used to love him. And I was thinking that I can do something like him.
He's a typical case of method acting. Any average person.
Right. And his personality, his aura was so tremendous that entire youth was madly in love with him. All our seniors in college, in school, and in our relatives, they were all used to talk about him only. Of course, of other actors also, but he was a phenomenon. But I started thinking like this, that I can do something like him. Ye aisa kya kar raha hai? What is so big about his work? I can also do it. It is not so difficult. So I started thinking of how to get into cinema, how to go to Bombay. This was my first rational thinking. After my daydreams, I started thinking how to take practical steps. Because we used to study magazines in Kashmir and news about theatre and news about people like Nasiruddin Shah and Om Puri, they all had come in magazines. And apart from that, Kashmiri theatre people like Mr. M. K. Raina, Mr. Bansi Kaul, they were all in news. I mean, I had come to know about them, that here few Kashmiri people are there who are working in Delhi. I came to know about National School of Drama also. And I realized that one should do theatre first. So my quick plan was that go to Delhi, study there, take admission in a college, do theatre, work with Mr. M. K. Raina or Bansi Kaur or any other director whom you come across, and quickly go to Bombay. Rather, I used to dream that somebody will pick me up. I was living in this illusion. Particularly, I used to dream of Mr. Manmohan Desai and Prakash Mehra because we used to read about them in our
But that
school
was the
days, 11th and 12th.
level of confidence also you had. It was not a foolhardy. I mean, it was not a kind of a daydreaming without using your metal of thinking. You had gone and prepared yourself as an actor going to join theater. It was not that you were
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it just doing nothing and just dreaming about it. You were working towards that
Correct.
direction.
But I had no experience. I had never done theater. I had done some skits in school. I had started doing that. I had started taking participation in cultural programs with small plays. That was only there. But then I soon tried to discover doing theater in Kashmir. I visited some theater personalities, but they said that their plays are mostly in Kashmiri language, and I wanted to do in Hindi language. So I made up my mind that I can't do much in Kashmir. Rather, I took the path of All India Radio in Kashmir, and I did some programs there also, which was more of quiz show and a comparing show. Some 3-4 programs I had done, but my mind was just leave Kashmir and go to first Delhi and then to Bombay. So when my 12th results came, I told my parents that I'll be going to Delhi and I'll study there. And they were thinking that he's planning something. So they had questioned me that why you're not trying for engineering or medical. I told that I'm not interested. I'll start studying and I'll do MA in something and I'll pursue IAS career. This is how I convinced them. Otherwise,
Convinced
they would not have left me. I was 17 and a half when I left Srinagar on my own.
17.
And when I took admission in Delhi, I did not live in hostel or with students at all. I took a rental apartment, a small one-room setup, and there I started my life. But when we still talk of Kashmir, it's more important to talk of these 15 years, actually 17 years of living in Kashmir. I remember all our excursions. I remember all that Mughal gardens, Shad Bagh, Shalimar Bagh, they all have a good memory. I mean, I have a good memory of that. I remember the temples, particularly the Tullamul temple,
Blah,
our Khir Bhavani. That was where we often used to go. Our mother used to take us all the time. Apart from that, I'll tell you an interesting anecdote, which later on, how it connected to me in my spiritual growth. Nandabab, you must have heard about, rather, every
Yeah,
Kashmiri knows about Nandabab.
Nanbab there. Yeah.
Uh, Often Nandabab used to come to some houses in Karanagar and
I
people
have
used to
also
talk
been to
about,
that.
I mean, I
Yeah,
heard it from my mother only.
I was also, that was on the main road.
In
That
one
house was on
gathering,
the main
my
road.
mother took, yeah,
That house
in
was on the main
one
road.
day, my mother took to, sorry?
Like that house was on the main road. My mother also took me once to that Nandabab. It was on a main road house, main
Somewhere
road
in
Karan.
Karanagar.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
He
I'll
used
tell
to
you an
give chits.
interesting incident. I mean,
He
when
used to
I
give chits.
remember Kashmir, huh, sorry, he used to give
He
chits.
used to give chits. He gave me chits.
Right.
Something pass. He gave me
Yeah.
chit. My mother told me pick this chit and let's move now. He has given you clearance something. Please, sir.
With me, what happened when my mother took to his place, she was welcomed by Nandabab. Like, oh, she has come. As if he was waiting for her, firstly, and he had not eaten his lunch. He was waiting for her to come and then have lunch. But when he started having his lunch, he called me and then he started feeding me. The lunch was kaliyat bat. And
Delicious.
people were surprised that why this kid is being fed by Mahatma Ji. And he was forcing me. I was small. I remember even I had tears in my eyes because he was feeding me big meat pieces and I was not able to swallow it properly. He was forcing me to eat. And he was singing a song, Jao Jao Sadhu Dandakvan, Jao Jao Sadhu Dandakvan. And I used to sing this when I came back for many days. I mean, this is just what came to my mind.
That's beautiful. No, this is a wonderful
And
anecdote.
yeah, that is how. And she, when I mean, Nandbab often spoke to my mother, telling her that Meera Banu, you should become Meera. Although she was married, she had 3 kids, but still he was like inspiring her. Meera Banu, be like a
Devotion.
Meera.
That is devotion.
Yeah,
Be
devotee,
devotional.
correct.
Yeah.
So we used to hear about Kashmiri saints from childhood also. That was also one important, that's also one important remembrance of Kashmir and Kashmiri saints. Rest, I moved on in 1982 and I had dreams in my eyes. And at the same time, I'll tell you why I was also thinking that whether my dreams are going to happen or not, because I had taken a big risk. And interestingly, when I joined the university, I left science. This is also another story. I took admission in political science.
Before we move into this Delhi journey of yours, I want to first of all ask something about Kashmir. There are the waterways in Kashmir, and people who used to live on the banks of Jhelum, Vetasta. There used to be excursions. People used to take the Donga cruise. People used to sit in Donga, and then they used to go along the ghats, and sometimes people used to go to the different places like Nishat also, or somebody like Tulamula Kheer Bhavani also. You have any
Yeah.
experience playing with this?
Yes. I
Yeah.
have. Definitely, I have. We have lived in Donga for a while, for at least 7 or 8 days, because my
And how was
maternal
it?
uncle, who was a well-known engineer, he was
Okay.
reconstructing his house, and he
Okay.
planned to live in Donga for some time, for some picnic also, for pleasure, and there was a construction happening in his house. So he got all of us also, we kids also, we lived there. I have a faint memory of that. We were very young, some 4 or 5 years old, and we enjoyed it. Yes, the Donga life at a very early age I have experienced. Rest, we have
So,
experienced that Nauka Vihar, that
Nauka Vihar.
of traveling to Nishat from one zone to another zone. This is we have done many times, which we see in films also, which we have seen in the films of 60s and 70s, all hero, heroines sitting there dancing and singing songs. We never sang songs, but we traveled. We have,
This Nauka Vihar used to
we have
boat.
Nauka, we have done that Nauka Vihar, yeah.
So let's talk about your days in Delhi now. I mean, Kashmir is a chapter which I never want to end, but then again, we have the constraints of the program. So let's talk about your Delhi days where you got
Kashmir,
trained.
actually, yes, I would say what was the impact what Kashmir gave me, I can now, in a flashback, say that it gave me simplicity. It gave me honesty. It gave me commitment. Our family is a hardcore moralist family. My father is a hardcore, staunch, honest person. He had ample opportunities to earn corrupt money, but he refused it. I mean, my mother always cribbed, but my father never accepted bribes, although he had many chances. And my grandfather, he was a doctor, and he was well-known doctor, Dr. Amarnath Parimoo, and he was also known for his service attitude. He charged just rupee 1 for the patients, although he was working as a assistant surgeon in hospital, SMHS hospital. But as a practitioner, private practitioner, he charged very less. That is how he had a lot of patients who considered him as Devata. There were so many Muslim people, they were always used to give blessings to him, saying that he's a god for us. Though he was not so popular like Dr. Ali Jan and others, but he was very well known in a very close circle. So I think that most of the Kashmiri people are staunch moralists, but in our family, the moral value was quite high. We were like, I remember my mother scolding and beating me for speaking a lie.
Oh,
And my younger brother was beaten a lot for just speaking one lie. So we were taught from childhood that jhoot bolna paap hai. So when I moved from
sanskar.
Kashmir to Delhi, yeah, that is the sanskar and that is the early education, and that is mostly because of your parents, your mother and father, and of course your gene pool also matters. Your genetic
Change.
structure also functions. But when I came to Delhi, I saw everybody was smart. Everybody was somewhere I had nothing but simplicity and dreams and little talent. Then I'll talk about how I developed my talent, because the only talent which I had was from films. But very soon I realized that this understanding of films is not going to help me
Theater.
groom as an actor. So when I started my play journey with my college play, very soon I started acting in a college dramatic society. And with the help of my college friends, I moved on to the professional theatre world in Delhi, the
Shriram
National
Center,
School
Mandi
of
House.
Drama Culture, Shriram Center, Mandi House,
Mandi
all
House.
that. Yeah,
That
yeah.
was my
Within a
best school.
year, I received the first shock of my life that acting is a big job. I may have to spend all my life just learning. I'm nowhere. Now, just after 1 year, I realized that I have to work hard, I have to struggle hard. My filmy dreams cannot help me. So there was one thing, one change, another change that happened when I was just 19, 20, that I have to let go of my filmy dreams of going away to Bombay very soon and finding job in films and all. I was thinking of just after my graduation going to
Immediately,
Bombay
Hashim.
and try my luck, as we have heard in magazines and all. But then I realized that I'm not prepared. I'll be nowhere. I might become a lunatic. So I worked hard on learning. Although I was also clear that I will not take admission in National School of Drama. I thought I'll train by doing plays, because I was very focused on learning acting. And in National School of Drama, they teach all branches of theatre. And somehow I was not fascinated by other branches. It didn't fascinate me at that time. I was
You
so
joined
focused about
NSD?
acting.
You joined
No, I'm
NSD?
not from NSD.
Oh,
I worked a lot with NSD people, those who were passed out from NSD, and they
it was the
used to
time
do
of
plays and
Al-Qazi.
all.
Al-Qazi was
Yeah,
there at
Al-Qazi
that
had
time.
left. But at that time, Al-Qazi had left.
Mohan
But the
Maharishi.
Delhi theatre culture at that time was very good.
It was
I
very
mean,
good.
it
I
was a
remember.
very intellectual
Mandi House
circle
was
where I was exposed to the works of Greek theatre, Greek poets, Greek tragedies, Sanskrit drama,
Sanskrit
then
drama.
Shakespearean drama, and Brecht, the plays of Brecht.
Correct.
Brecht was a very popular figure in Delhi theatre. And
Yeah,
of
yeah, he
course,
was.
some street theatre also. I did a lot of street theatre initially, Jannat Manch and other groups. And that is how every step I was learning, I was training, I was getting trained.
Did
So
you
with
get
every
did you
play,
get
I
any
moved on.
did you
Yeah.
Lalitji, did you had any worked under tutelage of some one guru, one master, two masters of theater, the teachers,
No, not
professors?
one, not one. There were so many of them. I was very keen in working with different directors who were freelance directors. And later on, there was one director, Mr. Amitabh Dasgupta, who had formed a repertory company. And then I joined his repertory company for 2 years. I worked as an actor, paid actor. That was how I started earning my money also. I was paid actor there. For 2 years, I was earning my money as a theatre artist. And at the same time, I explored other avenues like All India Radio and Doordarshan. And then the private Doordarshan came, which was a boon to all of
Boon
us,
to
where
the
we started getting some decent
careers.
money. Yeah. I was very keen of working in All India Radio. So for 8 years, 9 years, I think I've done more than 300 radio plays. When I left Delhi, I was one of the best radio artists, the highest paid radio artist of All India Radio. So that used to give me my little money to survive.
You have done the great plays like The Glass Menagerie and
Yeah, yeah,
Tartuffe
yeah.
by Moliere and Adhe Adhure. I mean, Mahabhoj I have also done.
Correct.
Mahabhoj, Adhe Adhure and Tartuffe I have played.
Okay.
But I remember Mahabhoj I was the main character. Adhe Adhure was, which character did you play
Okay.
in the Adhe Adhure?
I played the main character,
Are,
Mahendranath, all five people.
and 5 characters in one. Why? That's great. Mohan Rakesh, I don't know. I was in
Right,
love
right.
with Mohan Rakesh once. But then the other contemporary theaters like Vijay Tendulkar, Badal Sarkar, and I mean, all those times, B.V. Karanth and other people, they also fascinated you for this period. Did some plays?
Definitely,
Uh,
definitely. Yes, yes. I didn't work with Karanji. I worked in
B.V.
one of the
Karanth.
plays of Tendulkar. Meeta Ki Kahani, one of the plays of Tendulkar, I have worked in that. Under the direction of, if you remember this director, Mr. Rajendra Nath,
Rajendra Nath.
who
He
used to
was
run a group called Abhiyan.
Abhiyan, yes. Rajendra Nath was
Abhiyan.
he was probably NSD and I mean those were the great days. I remember. Now I go to Mandi House, मेरा मन खराब होता है. उस time का Mandi House और आज का Mandi House में बहुत जमीन आसमान का फर्क. And tell us more about some plays and theatrical experiences. थोड़ा सा Delhi. How was the Delhi with you? How did Delhi treat you? Like a friend, like an outsider, and how
Nee,
were your
like a friend only, like a friend. Yeah, yeah.
like a
Like a
friend?
friend only, because I didn't have much obstacles. Things happened, though it was struggle because I didn't live in hostel. I was shifting from one room to another room after every 1 year, and then later on I shifted to Mandi House. I lived in a small room there, where I realized that I must be very close to these people who are important in the world of theatre. So that from early morning, I meet them, say hello, and have a cup of tea and discuss theatre or watch a play. So there is no need to take a bus all the way and travel for 1 hour. So living in Mandi House was very important for me at that time, and I did that. And the journey of theatre was so interesting that it was like a mission, because wherever I worked, we worked so hard. First, rehearsing in lawns, Ravindra Bhavan lawns or
Ravindra
National School of Drama lawns. So there were no rooms for rehearsals. I mean, later on, when they used to uh, just when the day of show used to come, they used to pick up a school room for 7 days where the final run-throughs were done. And there was a military discipline in most of the theatre groups, and we used to
all the
like
groups.
eat, breathe, live with plays, talk about
Focused,
plays, discuss
focused.
things, and we learned everything, like what Stanislavski said, what Brecht
Yes,
said,
that's key.
what were the other school of
Correct.
theatre, what to do, how to do, whether you should be 100% involved, whether you should be not involved. So what is volume, page, how much voice one has to like deliver. So everything was done while working. With every director it was little different, and I have always believed that doing is more important. Instead of
Yes,
theater is an art form where doing is more important, practice is more
experiential.
important, and getting exposed to the audience. To have a show is very important for the training of an actor. That is what I have been trying to do when I started training actors or running an academy. I insist on this thing, because I have myself learned by doing shows only,
Hit
and
and trial
uh,
methods.
yeah, not
Actually,
classroom
this
sessions. They
is
don't
true.
teach you much. You may understand this little bit theoretically. You may understand about certain some analysis of plays, some
Field of
analysis
drama,
of
theater,
the
purpose, and other
structure of
things.
plays and all that.
Structure of
That is
plays,
right.
voice,
But the artist grows with rehearsals and shows. That's it.
show.
The life of an artist should be rehearsals, 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 and then a show or many shows. The
This is a
shows
dichotomy.
train,
This is a
because the
dichotomy.
pressure which you face, the nervousness which you face, the stage fright which you face, and
Yes.
sometimes you forget lines, sometimes the co-actor forgets, sometimes there is a
How to adjust,
property
recover.
mishap. Yeah, somebody misses the entry. You have to manage that. It's really
Nowadays,
like a military training. That is
yeah.
how, I
Nowadays,
mean, theatre
no,
training has always helped me in such a way that you take quick decisions in life also. That is what I have realized. I take
I have
very
seen,
fast decisions in life.
Lalitji, I have
So I
seen
think that
the,
that goes
the
to my theatre training days, because there you have to decide there and then. You can't take time, otherwise that moment is lost while you are performing, while you are facing the audience. Yes, you was asking me something.
I was saying that this is a dilemma of nowadays. I see because I'm a theatre critic as well. I see these young children. They go for NST nowadays. In older times, it was a great thing to go to NST, and they go to NST. Then there are Indian Theatre Department, Chandigarh. Then there's a theatre department in all the universities. They come out with great big vocabularies and the words and terminologies, but they have practically a nil experience of the shows, and then they sometimes
Absolutely, absolutely.
they decay. They decay. I feel very pained about that. All the
Yes,
great
yes, because
directors,
there is less of practice.
yeah, all the great
Because there is less
directors,
of practice.
like you are the example, all the great directors and actors, irrespective of whether they were formally trained or formally educated or not, have made very great things in theater. because of the experience, because of the shows, because of the practical learning, practical understanding. But these guys that hang around that we are in NST now and we became, and they start talking like a 70-year-old experience like Utpal Dutt doing Teen Ki Talwar. So something like that. This is dichotomy. I feel sometimes it should be a practically trained.
Very
There
true.
was one boy recently I saw that he filled up his play with all the ingredients he had learned from Indian theatre department. I told him that have you kept any space for the movement of the theme? Because whatever he learned, he thought that this is all bloody imagery. He overloaded it with imagery, that doom dadaka kind of a thing, like they used to do in the Ras Leela days and earlier times. They say, so that is unfortunate anyway. But Lalitji, you were a great actor. I especially was admired. I saw you were Mela Anchal. That was Mela Anchal.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Melanchal was one show.
you
Yeah.
are a very recognized television actor, and you have done great serials and series. And let's know about that part of it. Was this transition basically a quest to move and graduate to go finally into the films, or it was just a inner thrust of your development, or just a professional way of earning money, earning fame? What was it exactly? How did you change
Everything. All of these. Combined
all
all of these. Because background was I had to get into films. I had to go to Bombay.
okay,
And when I had done some nearly 5 years of theatre, so it just happened because at that time I'm talking of 1986 or 87, when the private television or the private producers culture in Doordarshan had begun. It
yeah,
started with Hum Log.
हम
Then
लोग was okay.
in Delhi, there was a buzz that many private producers have started their own production companies and they are looking for actors. So there was a culture developed that they used to interview actors, audition them, and whenever I used to get any information, I used to go for those auditions. And there were very simple ways of auditioning. They used to ask us that, what have you done? Can you emote something like this? Or have you done any character like this? Yes. We used to narrate or perform one of the monologues of our plays which we had done. And then they used to rank us and then they used to call us. That was the trend there. That was a very simple way of casting actors. So, and when the shows became regular, there were now morning shows, morning TV serials, afternoon TV shows, and then regular 9 p.m. TV shows. I was getting regular work. So then it was very difficult for me to continue working as a theatre person because the dates of shows were blocked in theatre. So, and definitely the money part. I mean, there was no,
Was
it was
important.
not big money, but definitely better than what theatre was offering. And we used to get opportunity to travel outside Delhi, travel towards many hilly areas because those producers, they were looking for nice locations. So Himachal was very well-known location for many people.
Nearby.
Yeah, nearby. And because my love for cinema was there, so it was like again getting trained for Bombay. So
That
I
was
lived in Delhi till the year 1992. By that time, I must have done some 20 odd TV shows, TV films, and TV shows combined. And I was quite like, even as a performer, one has to understand the nuances of camera. So I must say, I have learned everything very practically, and I have learned everything by doing mistakes. Like when I started acting in front of camera, there was one show where a very renowned cameraman was the main cinematographer. I had a habit of acting in front of, because I had a habit of using my hands. So even when the camera used to be there, even in
postures.
close-ups, I used to move
Yes,
my
yes.
hands like this. Then that
Same here.
cameraman suggested me, see, your shot is only this.
Your even
Then I
movement is
asked him
very
that I must
respected.
know the shot. I remember this conversation. I told him then, as an actor, then I must know what the shot is. He said, yes, it's your right. You must ask the director what the shot is. Then I started thinking like this, oh, yes, now here is a long shot. I can do my hand like this. And then there is a
Sure.
close up. I must work within that frame. And then since then, I developed this habit of asking the director what the shot is. So I have learned everything like this by doing mistakes and then by covering up those
It
mistakes.
is very natural.
Even those days when we used to give our shots in close-ups, I always used to feel that I'm very blank. There was no expression. Whatever my face was, it suited the character, so they liked it. But I used to feel that I'm blank. And sometimes when they used to take close-up first and then the wide shot, I used to get disturbed that what is this? Because in theater we were used to do the
gestures,
entire scene, rather entire play in one go. मतलब
expressions.
हम बोलते थे कि हमें घोड़े की तरह छोड़ दिया है और हम बस 2 घंटा जो है नाच कूद के करके आ जाते हैं. But in
Melodrama.
with
Melodrama.
yeah, from acting in front of camera was another learning. So I took these 3-4 years where I worked in Delhi television, and I learned the nuances, that how to act in camera, how to remember your emotional continuity, and how to manage the use of your hands and all that. And the
This is
pressure. Sometimes we used to work outside. Initially, working outside was tough. The sun, the heat, and then the crowd used to gather. We used to feel nervous initially. But then later on, we developed the habit of even acting in front of live audience. They're watching and they used to talk nonsense also. So, but we had to listen to all that. So that is all training that happened. And finally,
endurance.
92, I landed in Bombay. I moved on to Bombay.
Even this melodrama is in still. I mean, we belong to the Parsi theatre legacy. We have though this melodrama is still in this. You see the Western actors, Richard Gere. If Richard Gere has to say some word, he will simply murmur it, and expression will be in totality. But we
Yeah,
have in India, we have even in the cinema and even in television, we have this tendency of stretching your gestures
correct,
and postures. Gradually, it's
correct.
coming down now. I mean, there's sync is now, but then again, it was very difficult coming from theater, going to television, an extempore thing, and you are free because theater is the medium of actors finally. Because on stage, whatever you do, director cannot do anything. But while
Correct,
in
correct.
television, it is a director's medium, cut to cut, from one cut to
Definitely.
another. Did that create some kind of a discomfort to you when you had to give this
Initially, yes, definitely. Initially, as I
one
said,
cut, another
initially,
cut,
yes.
third cut, fourth, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on?
Initially, definitely, yes. As I said just now, I had difficulties in remembering the continuity of emotions.
Yeah,
But then later on, because we used to watch the rushes, we used to get the opportunity to watch our shooting
rushes,
rushes in the evening after the
monitors.
shoot. Yeah, so we used to correct that mistakes. That's why I said we learned by mistakes only. So then it was
Yes,
like preparing yourself for cinema or for camera is a different kind of preparation. At the same time, we realize that while acting for camera, less is more. The policy of good acting is less is more. So you have
yes.
to do less acting. In theater, we have to be little more because you are just there. So here in camera, in front of camera, if you are very natural, very realistic with your body, with your voice, with your face, if you're very natural and spontaneous, it will give good results.
That's so wonderful. Tell us
Yeah.
something about your great serials which you did, especially Mela Anchal. It became very popular. There were other also. I don't remember. They have done a lot of work in television. In
In
television,
Delhi, in Delhi or the
the
total television.
total television period and how.
Yeah, yeah. There were so many shows. I must have done more than 100 TV shows from Delhi days. If I start recollecting, Melanchan was one prominent. There was Himalaya Darshan, another prominent show which
Himalayan
gave
Darshan.
me, yeah, when people liked me. There was a telefilm called Abhi Nahi that was liked. There was a show called Tumhare Liye that was liked. Even Space City Sigma, there was one show which many people remembered me. And Apna Apna Asman was another show where Mr. Girish Karnad was there and Sriram Lagu was also there. Kapal Kutala, then Shaktiman here in Bombay, Shaktiman, Intezar aur Sahi, Noor Jahan, Fasle, Misal, Mulk, Basera, so many others, Lakshya.
And there was a difference in Bombay and Delhi television making
Ha,
style.
yes, yes. There was a huge
That was
difference.
more
Huge
professional,
difference in terms of professionalism. Huge difference. In Delhi, everybody was still like a Dilli wala and
amateurs.
just a little better than theater people because theater is more a community, family,
Yeah.
and we just have 2 cups of tea during the 4 hours rehearsals. That is what how we survive in theater. no money in theatre, poverty, but big talks or great talks. Television is little better. Television was in Delhi was little better, but still it was not highly professional. Even people were learning, like camera people also were learning by mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes happening. They used to call them glitches. I have worked from low band days, low band, then high band, then beta cam. All these came in front of me,
Beta cam. Yeah,
and there were a
beta
lot of
cam.
reshoots also because many of their shoots had gone wrong because of wrong colors or something wrong used to happen. And the shooting procedure was very slow. The costume department, production department, they were not very professional. And location were free, but they had fights with sometimes the people who used to give them locations for free. All that was part of Delhi shooting. But in Bombay, it was a big change, and everything was professional. From spot boy till the director or the producer,
All were professional.
everybody was doing a paid job, and there was a system, and people were following that system. So
It was a great.
Bombay is a very professional place. Delhi is still like that. Delhi has not changed much because the industry has not developed there. Bombay Bombay has a very great
And
history of cinema here.
Bombay was and is, I can say there's a difference now, but it was the excellent, and I don't know with the technical gadgets and all that. But what I'm saying is that even in Delhi, the people have all this laid back attitude.
Oh
हो
yes,
जाएगा,
yes.
कर
हाँ
लेंगे,
हो जाएगा.
हो
Discipline
जाएगा.
नहीं. There was no discipline also. That if you have there was no shift system. They used to give call time like anything. Like in Bombay, we have a proper shift system. If it is a 7 o'clock shift, then it has to wind up by 7 o'clock. If it is a 9 p.m. shift, you have to finish it by 9 p.m. or at the most 10 p.m. So it's like a job here, and everybody is doing work professionally here. And people
Tell me,
respect you if you're a professional. This is also another good part of Bombay
yeah,
industry. You don't have to be a sycophant, or you don't have to bootlick or make unnecessary friends. If you're a
on your own
professional
merit.
and the other person feels that this man can deliver, they'll take you, whether you're a cameraman or an actor or a production guy or a designer or anyone. So they respect the quality of your work, your integrity, honesty, and your professionalism.
That's so
This is
wonderful
a
in Bombay.
yeah, this is a
Bombay
good
is
part of Bombay.
you actually television. We call it an idiot box because of so many reasons. There's another debate because everything is poured into it. But then again, television brings you a great fame.
Oh
Because
yes,
it has a very. I remember I did one serial for it was DD Metro. We did lot many serials, local serials there. DD Metro, and that was Chehre. I did a very good role there. It was a 7 minute interruption. That was a villainish, smart villainish guy. I don't know. It had probably gone to 50 countries. My cousins writing me, Dicky Bhaiya, we saw you there. You are in Falana. मैं कहा, ये कैसे कहता है, it is television. The magic of television is such that
oh yes, it is.
it is no doubt it's a very big medium.
No doubt, no doubt. The
How
reach is tremendous. Yeah, yeah.
which is tremendous. And then
But that is
as
the
an
best part. I mean, see, there are so many people who have trained themselves professionally in past 30 years, whether they are from FTI or NSD, or they are from some technical institute where they have trained in sound department or camera department. So where would have they gone for work?
that's true.
Films could not have occupied them completely. Like in 60s or 50s, those who wanted to become professional actors, they used to come to Bombay, but only few survived here. Only few got
Very
the
few.
opportunity to work in films because films do not had the scope to occupy everyone. So I'll say that nature provided a new change because there are so many artists now. Then television came, and then later on the satellite TV came because the community of artists has grown now. It is still growing. There are so many now
Growing.
who want to act. So now there is a
Exposure.
YouTube. Here's another thing: the web world. There are small areas where you can act and fulfill your desires of being a broadcaster, being an actor. You can make short films. You can make
And
small
it can be a hit.
YouTube films.
It can
Yeah,
be a hit also.
it
It
can be
can
a
be a
hit
hit.
also. See, the reach of YouTube is now people are earning money I don't
And
know
look at
about
the
you.
OTT.
I don't know how big you're making money.
No, I'm not. I have a different attitude. I mean, I was never good at making money. But then again, you don't know. Uh, OTT platform is something which is amazed now. Everything, even the big filmmakers whose film didn't run. Recently, they made that 1983, that World Cup film. There was a lot many expectations, and it was overstretched publicity, but it was dumped at the box office. But now they are searching for these platforms, Netflix and other, and these things are also added up. Lot many things helping the actors, helping the
Yes,
entire
yes, yes.
generation of actors.
It is good for basically good for newcomers. I mean,
I
people
saw
like me
your
also.
Meherbani. I saw your Meherbani very recently. I just saw Lalit ji is there. I just hold it back, and because I was running Netflix and just seeing Punjabi, देखता नहीं था.
Aranyak. The,
Meherbani?
the show, the name of the show is Aranyak.
No, it was a film. It was a film.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Are you talking of Mubaraka?
Sorry, not Mubarka.
Mubaraka, yeah. Anil
I saw
Kapoor
him
film,
there.
yeah.
Maga, this is Lalit ji. I have seen his
Ha,
story,
ha.
Lalit ji. A recent one, na? Recent one.
Right, right.
Okay, it's an OTT platform, Netflix movie, or the general mainstream
Nee, it was
cinema
for general. Now they are showing it on the OTT also.
showing it.
I recently did a web show called Aranyak. And
Aranyak,
there
that
is
I've
another
seen.
film right now coming, Nar Kasur. And
Narcos.
another web series called as the Truth. Behind the Truth.
Oh,
This is for OTT.
that's wonderful. That's so
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
So great
I'm
of
doing some work also. Apart from
you.
teaching. That is another
So,
chapter. I don't know how much time you have for the conversation.
no, we'll go. We'll
Teaching
go
is
on.
another
No,
area.
I'll just come to that. Then finally, you went to the movies. Eh? You have been performing into yet another popular creative medium, cinema. eh?
Right.
So Heather Mubaraka and all this. Heather is the very famous one, and Agent Vinod is the famous one. Tell us your experience of shifting from a professional television to the movies. Was it a very smooth, transforming journey, or it was just an abrupt jerk into another kind of a structure, another kind of a atmosphere, professionally different by
Yeah,
all means?
professionally, it happened. It happened. See,
Okay,
I always wanted to be part of the cinema, but I was not getting offers of good roles. I used to refuse most of the roles which I used to get. And moreover, I was occupied in television. Till 2008, I was regularly doing television, which meant it occupied me for nearly 15 to 20 days a month. So I also didn't have dates for films. And in films, because most of the films were star backed, and every time the producer had to tell you that you have to block your 3 months. So that was difficult for a long period for me because I was earning okay with television, so I stuck to television. But then I realized that it's too much of TV now. I took a break for some time. I started teaching also, and during that break, certain films happened to me, and they were offered. I took it up because I had time. So the transition came like this because I was less working. I had time, and
okay.
because these films, like Hyder, I spent nearly 40 days of shoot, mostly in Kashmir. That was
It
visiting
was done in
Kashmir
Kashmir.
after a long time
Done in
again.
Kashmir.
Yeah. So that is how films happened. Yeah.
So this again, I'm asking a question which we already discussed, but slightly I want another aspect of it because Lalitji would definitely give another connotation about it. You didn't formally train and go to the FTI, or you didn't go to the NST. You planned your, I mean, this entire career, and step one, you went to the theater, and luckily
Yeah.
you were in a very good luck that you had the serious people around in Delhi. I mean, it was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
serious theater you did. You learned a lot with the
Correct.
great
Correct.
masters there. Time waste nahi hua. And then finally television came in, and then finally movies. The shift from one to another, or quantum jump from one orbit to and back to another. How smooth it has it become now? I mean, are you very acclimatized with this all the three, or
Oh
you
yes,
feel a
yes, yes.
special affection for something? Yeah,
See
special
how it
favoritism.
happened. I would say because you see, I told you about my dreams, my daydreams, and everything. So I was from initial days only. I had faith in Supreme. This was something which I always
Very
had.
important.
I was always, I always had this intuitive feeling that somebody is guiding me. In my early days, in my teens, or even in my early 20s, I could not say that, oh, God is guiding me, but I was getting this feeling as a sixth sense that my life is being chartered properly. Because every time systematically things happened. ये नहीं हुआ, थोड़ी देर के लिए problem आई, then something else happened. Like shifting from theater to television happened in such a way that I was getting frustrated with the plays which I was doing because the number of actors were more than the number of audience.
Oh,
We have done so many plays like this, and I used to feel sad. We were 20, 25 people in the repertory group acting, and the audience was 8, 12, 15. And then it used to pain me that what am I doing? Will my life happen like this only? Theater ही करते रहोगे? But then suddenly ये आ गया. So the movement or journey has happened like this: pain or dissatisfaction or discontentment with what you were doing, then an opening of a new window or a new door. It just happened. And that's why I always had faith that चीजें हो रही है, किसी ऊपर वाला कुछ करवाता रहता है, और nature is helping you, guiding you, and you are just following your inner voice, or you're following your inner emotions more and more. And as I have done no malpractice. I have never got a role by giving a party or supplying booze
psychophancy.
or anything else. Whatever I have
Yes,
done, I have
entrance.
done completely on merit. If it is
That's wonderful.
still known and liked by people, so I belong to those section of artists who have done everything on their merit. That's it.
That's so wonderful. That's so great.
And not
That's
even
very proud.
extra networking, not even that extra networking which many people do nowadays, because that has become a part of culture. Now we are
Part of the
getting
game
into
now.
networking zone. The youngsters are quite quick in that, throwing more parties or taking out for dinners, those people who matter in casting and all that. They talk in terms of business. I still do not understand that how to think like a business. Even Mr. Amitabh Bachchan once said that कि व्यवसाय में ऐसा करना पड़ता है, तो वो व्यवसाय की तरह देखते हैं इसको. ये एक interesting, I mean, I'm learning a lesson just 3 years back or 4 years back. I've started thinking यार ये भी धंधा है, तो धंधे की तरह काम करो, which doesn't come naturally to me, because we worked in theater, then we worked in television, then even in Bombay, there was always a relationship with people who mattered, whether it was a producer or a director or a writer. It was always more like a community, like a family, and the director liked you or you liked the director. That is how the associations began. We used to then meet, talk, discuss, watch films, go and watch others' plays, others' films, others' premieres. So that way a bond was always there, a team was always there. This stopped after the culture of daily soap, and now the culture of web shows are also making you alienated. But
Yeah.
the professionalism has grown, and you may talk like a businessman or you may think like a businessman by negotiating in money matters, in date matters, in your roles, everything. You can think like a business, which it doesn't come to me naturally,
Yeah.
but
It's a
still,
business. Like, there
it is
was
a
a great
business.
saying.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Anupam ji said once when I was shooting with Amitabh ji, and he was wearing that whole lot of that, kambal and all, in a very, what the atmosphere in the shooting area is full of, I mean, there is no fan around. And then he said that you are waiting for so long. He said, it's my profession. Amitabh ji said, it's my profession. Danda hai. Dande
Yeah,
ki
yeah.
baat. Lalit ji, I would like to ask, because I have been also a buff of Mandi House, and when we used to do theater a lot, and हम अपने तरीके से करते थे. Mandi House में भी perform किया, कमानी में भी. Which auditorium, which projections of, because I did it in Gaiety also. I performed in Gaiety also. Which auditorium in Mandi House, especially Kamiani and Sriram Center, and Fiki and other auditoriums,
LTG.
eh?
LTG also.
LTG
There was
also.
another
Which
auditorium called Little Theatre Group. Yeah.
Little Theatre Group? Yes. What I'm saying
But
is
I
that
liked Kamani and Shriram Center. That's
Shriram
the
is the
best.
best. I think
Shriram
Shriram
is the
only.
best. The
This is the
acoustics and
angle
all.
there, no? This is the
Yeah,
angle,
yeah.
like this.
And I started with basement theatre. I mean, my early
Arey,
days of
that's
that small theatre, basement. And then
studio
with bigger
theatre, like a
plays, we moved
studio
on to
theatre,
the, yeah,
like a studio theatre. I did even
correct.
Island. My Island play it was in studio theatre. It was in a very intimate. 2 meters away the audience was sitting. We did it in Mohan Maharishi. He said that he came and he clapped, and we did it in Indian Theatre Department, Chandigarh, as a guest.
Okay.
We had come here on a holiday. So that is very intimate. The doing it in basement and doing it in a very, very close contact with the audience, it is challenging as well.
Right.
Lalitji, I mean, do you still think? Have you ever been with what do you call it? These people like Nasir and Tom Alter. They all formed a group. They used to do Shabana. Even I remember during when I used to go to Bombay. Sanjana Kapoor was always there. Candle Theatre, Shakespeare. But especially these the professionally famous actors, legends, stars of Indian film industry like Nasir, Om Puri, Tom Alter. They used to do in between theaters
Theatre and
whenever.
all. Yeah.
So
No,
you
I have not
still
worked with them, but I've seen their plays. Nasir
Majma
Saab though
never,
still does it. He
never
directs only now, but he used to act a lot. Tom Alter
Lalita
also
Dubey.
used to do some
Lalita
plays,
Dubey
yeah, but
also.
I did not work with them. I had formed my own group and I used to do one
Your
play
own
in
group.
2 years or 3 years. I used to direct also.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
But
great.
lately, I have been teaching students and we have been doing plays in small studio, intimate theatre spaces. Now, there are
Arey,
many such spaces in Bombay because
that's
everybody we can't afford with students, you can't afford a big hall. That's very difficult. And to get audience also is now very difficult. So, there are a lot of small spaces in Bombay now. So, many
and
people do that. So,
you are doing this Abhinav yoga. Now I come to the spiritual side of yoga.
Abhinay Yoga.
Abhinay yoga. Sorry, not Abhinav yoga. Abhinay yoga. Uh, you belong to Kashmir, and Kashmir we already were accustomed with this, spiritual this Kashmir Shaivism, Trika Shastra. And I have seen your one lecture. I also given one lecture there that was in Rupa Bhavani group. So you were talking something about the Tantra Shastra or something. It was a great, big, wonderful lecture. Difficult for me to get the strings. I had on Rupa Bhavani's poetry and all that. I did one lecture. So tell me, were you inspired by the Kashmir Shaivism? Your quest for spirituality, although it is always secret, I should not ask. Tell us something about this first, and then we'll talk about application into the art. Its application into the art.
Yeah. See, I think that maybe because genetically I am connected with Kashmir Shaiv Darshan, but I didn't start with that. The journey didn't begin with learning Kashmir Shaiva philosophy. It began by seeking the path of yoga when I was in Delhi only, around 26, 27 years old. I somehow felt fascinated by Swami Vivekananda.
Ah,
Yeah, that is how it began. And I was traveling for a shoot from Delhi to Mysore. And we used to travel by train in those days. At one station, we stopped, and I was just roaming around the platform. I saw a stall, and there were 4 books: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Prem Yoga. And they were very cheap, 25 rupees. I thought, let me read him, because reading was a good habit of mine. And I thought, let me see, he looks very hero-like, Mr. Swami Vivekananda. So those 4 books changed my thinking. I started thinking that मैं कितना मामूली हूँ, मैं एक्टर हूँ और क्या करता हूँ मैं. I'm acting in plays, changing roles, costumes, trying to earn money. Then I'll be going to Bombay. What will I do there? I may earn little more. What will I do with that money? I may get some big flat or properties, this and that. So all these dreams, my goal was very, very small for me after reading those books, because he spoke about Upanishad, he spoke about the power of Atma, he spoke about self-realization, he spoke about God and all. And all that, consciousness, all that made me think that my dream of becoming a great actor is a very ordinary dream. I'm not making full use of my human being, because I had already become an actor, I had already started signing autographs. So that fun was fulfilled, that dream was fulfilled. अब इसके बाद क्या होगा, यही होगा, इससे ज़्यादा क्या होगा. अभी मैं 10 ऑटोग्राफ साइन किया हूँ, वहाँ 1000 कर लूँगा, 2000 कर लूँगा, बट फिर क्या, हूँ तो मैं अंदर से वैसा ही जैसा हूँ, ऑर्डिनरी सा. तो Because I realized the futility of a famous personality. I realized the futility of becoming famous. This
Futility
was
of
my
becoming.
experience, which made me love the path of spirituality, which began with Swami Vivekananda. Then I seriously studied him, all his literature. I used to go to Ramakrishna Ashram in Delhi. And then when I shifted to Bombay, I used to visit Ramakrishna Mission. And in my free time, I used to study their Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. This is how I started.
Belur
And
Math
yoga
also.
also
Did you go to
fascinated
Belur
me.
Math also? Belur Math?
Sorry?
Belur Math, Kolkata? Belur Math.
Belur Math I went. Yeah, I went for a show first. I went for a serial. Kapal Kundala, there was a TV show which was shot in Calcutta, and there I
Oh.
went to Belur Math also.
Belur Math, I
Yeah,
always go. Calcutta, whenever I go.
Dakshineshwar and Belur Math both.
Dakshineshwar. Yeah. Crossing the river.
Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful. Yes.
right.
You're
So
talking
from
about.
here, my interest in spirituality began. Then I started attending lectures by anyone who used to come to Bombay to give lectures. Here in Bombay, there is a place called Bharati Vidya Bhavan, where so many people come and give lectures and sermons on Upanishad, Gita, and religious talks used to happen. Whenever I used to have time, I all the way used to travel and attend them. So that was my training.
So,
And then in Bombay, there is an institute, Yoga Institute at Santa Cruz. I attended their classes and I attended a week-long residential course I did there, which made me learn the basic asanas and pranayam. And then I started doing my practices of whatever I was learning. And then again, a quest developed that I must have a teacher, I must have a master. I was looking for a
Guru.
master. All this is happening in Bombay. But at the same time, when I used to go for my outdoor shoots, I used to visit temples. I used to look for a teacher somewhere. In Calcutta also, I went to Orissa, I went to Rajasthan. So many temples I visited in Himachal also. Wherever I used to get an opportunity, I tried to
Yes.
find some teacher. I used to visit sannyasis and meet them, talk to them, and see what I can draw from them. But nothing inspiring happened. Then my tryst with Rajneesh also happened. Osho.
Oh, which year?
I I found there was one camp in Bombay. Zorba the Buddha camp was
Zorba the
there.
Buddha.
There was a camp for 3 days. Zorba the Buddha camp. I thought, what is this? The name is fascinating. Buddha is fascinating. What is this Zorba? I was
Zen.
aware of the term Zorba. Zorba, that Kazantak
Zen.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. I attended that 3 day camp. I was again impressed by what Osho meditation was giving, and his lectures fascinated me. Again, I thought I can make him my guru. I studied all his meditation practices. I used to visit to Pune also, often attend those 3 day camps, and few camps I
Which is
attended. But then
this is
again,
this is after Oregon, after the Oregon episode or
it
before
was
Oregon?
in Osho. I think Osho had passed away by that time.
Achha, achha.
Osho was not alive. He
Because
passed away
he
in 90. He passed away in
Patanjali's
1990.
he used Patanjali's
Yeah,
Yoga
and I
Sutra.
am talking of
Yoga Sutra.
93, 94. 93, 94, 95.
That's very
I was fascinated by Arvind also. There was an ashram in
Arvindo.
Bombay also. Everything is happening in Bombay. Can you imagine? On one hand, I am in the glamour world, and on another, in the
Glitter and
same
dazzle.
city, I am traveling inward. I meet Krishnamurti Foundation also. And J. Krishnamurti also fascinated me. I
Ah,
learned a lot from him, his books and his lectures and all. But the Guru thing never happened. So,
Yoga
in
Krishnamurti.
brief, how Guru happened, a team of sannyasis I met, and they were from an organization called Anand Marg. And by this
Yes.
time, I always used to ask any sannyasi or any spiritual person, do you teach the awakening of Kundalini? I had realized intellectually that it is only Tantra and the path of awakening of Kundalini that can make you realize whatever you want to in the spiritual path. And in Bombay, I visited so many temples and so many people, but nobody could give me, even in Ramakrishna Mission also. Somebody told me one mantra, wo Ram Ram wala hi tha. It was not very exciting and fascinating. And I did it for some times. Whatever I used to learn, I used to practice it for some times. But there was no results. I did Vipassana also. I was an
Vipassana.
ardent follower of Vipassana system also. I started a cricket club with the name of Vipassana. It still exists. Of TV actors, I started a cricket club named Vipassana Cricket Club in 94, 95. So these sannyasis of Anand Marg, I met them and I spoke to them about Tantra, and they laughingly said that our system is based on Tantra. You learn it. And I learned it. And within 2-3 months, I started getting some very good results. I had no connection with the Guru. The Guru also physically had left by the year 1990. But the team of sannyasis was there, literature is there, literature was there available. And within 2-3 months, I was getting some very good experiences in meditation, which they call as sadhana. It was not that my kundalini started jumping at all, but I was getting a lot of serenity in meditation. And there were some flashes of consciousness, I can say. And one first experience of bliss happened to me that I was like in a state of bliss for nearly 20 minutes. And that made me a disciple of this entire system and the Guru. And then I was connected with the organization and learned higher lessons, taught myself slowly. See, I had a nightlife. I was proper professional commercial actor who slept at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, my nightlife was very active. I used to drink, I used to smoke, I used to eat non-vegetarian food, I used to date and all. So that is how actors live. And everything slowly I cut down on it. Within 3 years, I was a proper vegetarian who used to sleep now at 10:30, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and not even eat onion and garlic. This is the transformation with this meditation system of mine.
Finally, you got it. Finally, you reached there.
Finally, I found a Guru, and finally, it's like more than 20, 23, 24 years.
24 years have gone by.
Yeah. I can tell you, I mean, I'm not boasting. If I had given entire my energy to film world, I would have been a more famous or a more rich person. I left a lot of things. Rather, I sacrificed money and fame for these realizations. I can say sorry?
This is an inner awakening. We belong in the
Correct.
carnation and all that. This is something most important thing which has to happen in the life.
And later on, after when I
later.
studied the entire literature and followed the path of Anand Marg, I came across in a library, I came across in a book exhibition, Shiva Sutras. This was 2007, 2006, 2007. From there, I took to the study of Kashmir Shaif Darshan. And then I realized that whatever I'm studying here, I have learned it. And our ancestors, they were actually the pioneers on the path of Tantra and pioneers on the path of awakening of Kundalini. Kashmir, even our Guru, Shri Anand Murthy Ji, he had talked a lot about Kashmir Tantra. That Tantra in Kashmir was very vibrant at one point. He has explained that why Kaul is used as a surname. Who had, I mean, you are a Kaul. I don't know whether you are aware of it. But the real reason for Kaul is a sadhak who has awakened his Kul Kundalini. The full name of Kundalini is actually Kul Kundalini. So those who have awakened their Kundalini, Kul Kundalini, they use the title Kaul. And we had Kaulacharya. So Kaul is a big name. Kaul is a big title. Kaul is a big achievement. So every sadhak actually has to become a Kaul. Every sadhak cannot become a Mahakaul. Mahakaul is a big guru. But every sadhak can aspire to become a Kaul. So that is why there were so many Kaul in Kashmir. So actually, but whole thing has deteriorated. I interacted with many people from Kashmir. Swami Lakshmanju is the last person in this list, and we don't have people in Kashmir who were trained properly on the path of Tantra. And because every sadhak in Anand Marg has been given an assignment to propagate Tantra. So I also used to do it a lot initially, but most of the Kashmiri people could not accept it. But lately, the young generation of Kashmiri people, they are interested in the scriptures, our ancient scriptures, and they are showing some interest in Tantra. But in Kashmir, we don't have the system to teach. The real system, I am not boasting it, but I am sharing it. The real system is in Anandmar. Anandmar is the only path which is based on Tantra. Everything of Tantra is in Anandmar meditation. And if anyone who loves or who aspires to learn meditation should learn Anandmar meditation. But it is not taught so swiftly, so easily, so smoothly. Only who are actually, who fit the bill, they can learn it. But I can say Kashmiris are genetically trained
Genetically,
to learn Tantra
they
sadhana.
can learn it. Yeah,
They are genetically attuned to the Tantra sadhana because they know everything intellectually. They can grasp it intellectually. They can understand the crux and essence of awakening of Kundalini. Only thing is they have to shed their fear. I can say that after the Exodus, the fear element has increased in our community.
that's
And
true.
because
Illusion. This is
now
illusion.
we have prospered and we have worked hard and we have fought against the bad conditions and against the plight which we have experienced. Now the new generation is coming up with and are becoming fearless. They are doing good in their own areas and they can
Yes.
progress speedily on the path of spirituality. The only thing is they have to catch hold of the right system of meditation. They'll
There
move
is
like rocket.
it has to something to do with the Pakhand also and Karam Kand. They are very much into Karam Kand.
They're
They don't
very
ever
much,
want
yeah,
to.
but that has happened because of the fall of Tantra. It moved to Karma Kand only. But the new
Okay.
generation will accept it very speedily, I'm very sure. Because the new
Anyway,
generation is more scientifically oriented and they are living in different big cities. They're connected with
they're in a different
technology and
plane of
anything which
understanding.
is scientific will be accepted. Anything which is rational will be well accepted. And Tantra Sadhana is 100% mathematics. I can tell you. There is no foolishness, there is no superstition, there is no unnecessary ritual. There is proper scientific way of
Proper
awakening
science.
this sleeping divinity, and it depends on your hard work. It also depends on your previous births, meditations,
Carnation.
and your
Carnation.
zeal and your intensity. You can do it. One
Yes.
can do it.
Actually, Anand Marga is such a wonderful thing. As you explained, one day I also listened to your lecture. It was wonderful. And you are a teacher and you understand it very well. But at one point of time, it was in the wrong names. And we were very school time in that time, probably in college time. Anand Marga was probably it had a bad name that it was being used by some lobby probably for the political this political power and other things. So these things also
Yeah,
happened
yeah, yeah.
once upon a time. And there was a word I don't remember. You may know it better. Proudest. Be proudest.
Proud, yeah.
Proudest.
That is still there.
Proudest.
That is
Yeah.
still there.
So I
See,
don't
this
know.
is
I
another
never
part.
understood. I never
That
understood
is
it.
my
I
one.
wrote it. I wrote on my science college this board. Be proudest. Professor held me by hand. He said, "What do you mean by this?"
See,
I said, "No,
I'm happy
be
that you are aware of it. I'm a Broutist. I've become a
proudest."
Broutist. See, that's why I'm no more rich.
Yeah.
See, regarding this, the Guru, Shri Shri Anand Murti Ji,
Yeah,
he
Anandi.
is the only saint in the modern times who has given a proper socio-economic system. We do not have the tradition of socio-economic systems given by spiritual masters. Now,
That's
this
true.
master has given a proper socio-economic system, which is known as PROUT, Progressive
Proud.
Utilization Theory. And it is an answer to capitalism and communism. So it
It's
was
an
actually banned in Russia because Russia had a communist regime and Anand Murthy through PROUT condemned communism and said that communism is very dangerous for the humanity.
and it
So
was
Russia
time of
had actually
socialism in
banned
India. It
PROUT
was a
and
time of
Russia had
socialism in
given,
India at that time.
yeah,
At
Russia
that time,
had
it was a time of
influenced in, sorry?
influence. I mean, that was a time of socialism in India. It was influenced by the Russian communism at that time.
Communism
So,
only. Yeah,
yeah, so it
yeah,
happened.
yeah.
Anyway,
So PROUT is a, yeah.
yeah, that's
I
wonderful,
was saying
sir.
that
It's
PROUT is a
wonderful, beautiful.
socio-economic theory. It's a new socio-economic theory, which is very interesting. And I don't know if you get an opportunity, you must read it. You can get
I'll
it
read it.
from Google also. And it's based on spirituality.
I will definitely read
Capitalists
this
also
book.
will not accept it because it is against capitalism also, it is against communism also. It has some wonderful ideas. And certainly one who is on the path of sadhana, he has to, he cannot be rich. A man who is practicing meditation cannot at the same time become a rich man. It is impossible. You can't be like walking or traveling on the two boats. So one has to be a
like
proudist in
moderation.
real life. Proudist
It is like
means a middle class person. See, in
moderation.
Kashmir also, if you study the history of Kashmir, why the main community was middle class? It is the middle class only which can practice tantra, which can practice religion, and at the same time run their families, earn proper money, and be moralist.
It is the
See,
middle class.
Naitikta and morality is the background for any kind of spiritual practice. You can't be
Lalitji,
a cheat, you can't be a
yeah,
scoundrel and a spiritualist
in
at the
middle
same time.
class.
It's
Lalitji,
impossible. It's impossible.
it is basically, I think it is basically the moderation of senses, moderation in every aspect of your life.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Laleshwari says, "Khan malo kunno vatak nakan gasak ahankari, khan malo
Absolutely.
consumption. Somai pak
Absolutely.
mala, somai vatak to somai khurne, barnan tol. You will reach to the bliss, state of bliss, or that state
Absolutely.
what you
Absolutely.
call.
This is the
So
one of the
moderation
best
is the key.
couplets of Lal Ded. Yeah.
Moderation is the
Moderation
key.
is the answer. Yeah, yeah.
So let us talk about now this Abhinay Yoga, which you are now utilizing for the transformation of the younger generation. I had heard one more line that was wonderful, magical line you spoke in that lecture. It was the rationalizing the process of thinking. I don't know the exact line. I mean, it meant that
Channelization
how
of emotions. Is it so?
rationalize
Channelization of emotions.
emotions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, especially youngsters are very much into it. They are in much trouble. They become very sensitive. They are in, you don't know, you must be knowing, I mean, blood pressure in 20s, stress in 30, 25, 28, they are in the stress, they are touchy. Something is has to be done with this generation also. This, I'm talking about the general, I don't mean all. So you were saying something very, very fruitful in that lecture, and now we are also talking about Abhinay Yoga. Kindly let us know about what you are trying to do in this
Yeah, so
space.
Abhinay Yoga is my research where I have combined my two different or opposite subjects. Abhinay
Right.
is acting, and Yoga is, Yoga, which is the union of the individual with the cosmos. It's my research work, and firstly, I'll say how I stumbled upon it. Because I was teaching meditation to people, and I realized that people are not ready for the higher lessons of Tantra. They are not so interested in learning Tantra sadhana. I used to initially first talk a lot about Tantra and awakening of Kundalini and all to people who used to become my friends and who used to learn acting from me. At the same time, while working as an actor, I realized that there is a possibility of channelizing your emotions in a very systematic way if you express it in a very ordered way. Like, as an actor, suppose I'm doing a character where the person is very angry or the person is very tragic. So, two important rasas are involved. One is Raudra ras and one is Karun ras. So, if you have
Karuna.
a character or a role where a lot of Raudra ras is being used, so in a TV show, you work for 15 days, 20 days, and you do 8 to 10 scenes a day. Now, imagine an actor doing 8 to 10 scenes of Raudra in one day, or 8 to 10 scenes of Karun Ras, the tragic
Karuna.
part.
Compassion.
So, first, that
Karuna,
amount of energy one must have, that emotion must be there. And then, in front of camera, when you perform it with your actors, by the end of the day, you not only feel so relieved, but at the same time, you feel happy because you're being paid for it. So
right.
from here, the idea came to me that if we teach people, particularly youngsters, the channelization of their emotions, all emotions, we experience all kind of emotions. If they are expressed in relationships, your relationships become bad. So if you give a vent in a workshop, in a structured acting workshop, where they come up with their emotions of these powerful emotions of anger, of fear, of pain,
Yes.
mind has been emptied now.
Okay.
Mind occupies the place of emotions. If one part is emptied, automatically something will fill that. So Abhinay Yoga talks about first express negative emotions and then plant the positive emotions consciously. So I've written a book called Main Manushya Hoon, which is composed of all these particular monologues, positive and negative. First negative and positive. So an actor, what has to do, or any aspirant who learns this system, he has to first identify his negative emotions. And how will he identify? I have made a chart which I call as, it's already spoken by wise people, Shadripu and Ashtapash, six enemies and eight bondages. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsarya.
Wow.
This comprise of our six enemies. And Grana, Shanka, Lajja, Bhay, Kul, Sheel, Man, Jugupsa. This is our Ashtapash, the eight bondages. All our negative world is actually this. If you analyze anything negative, West is explaining in a different way. The psychologists are talking in different
They
way.
talk in a
But
limited way.
if in Indian context we study our negative system, these 14 are our enemies. The six ripus and ashtapash, eight bondages. So I have made a monologue of all these. First the negative and then the positive. So
Oh,
first you
wonderful.
perform a negative scene or a negative monologue. Give a vent to your negative emotion of anger and then replace it with the positive feeling. This way your mind can be healed. This is the fundamental system. First
That's
you
wonderful.
teach monologues and then you teach scenes, because all these feelings are in your life vis-a-vis a relationship, whether it is a father-son or father-daughter, husband-wife, girlfriend-boyfriend, mother-son, mother-daughter, neighbors, professionals, brothers, siblings. Life is a relationship. So in relationships only these feelings come up. Today you and me are friends. Today we love. Tomorrow we hate. This is very normal and ordinary in everybody's life. Today who is respected, tomorrow he is disrespected. So that this fluctuation of emotion is a very normal thing. So now the important part is how to manage these negative feelings, and it's important to manage them. Spiritual world teaches you in one way. Abhinay Yoga teaches you in a
In
direct way.
different.
First, give expression to it. Take it out. From your system, take it out. Otherwise, this anger will lead to disease. Otherwise, this anger will lead to anxiety. You will be now under a psychiatry treatment. You will be taking medicines and all that. So it's better to take it out artistically. So there will be creative fun, and if you are good at it, you might earn money by becoming a actor. Your anger might lead to acting. Your tragedy might lead to acting, and you might earn money also. See all these over angry actors like Nana Patekar or like Quarantin, Tarantino, or even Nasir Saab. They're so
Yes,
angry
yes.
in their real lives also
They
that
are
they
dope.
could have become a criminal. If they had
They
not
are
become
dope.
actors, they would
Dope
have become
can get justice.
criminals.
They can't live without
Yeah,
dope. They are on the dope
yeah.
because of
So
their irrationality.
anger management with Abhinay Yoga can be a better treatment. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to teach people and spread this message through
That's so
lectures,
wonderful.
through workshops, at whatever level I can do.
You
It's
are
a
giving back.
big task, but still I'm doing it at a very small level.
That's a very, very great thing. I mean, normally we realize the day we realize who we are, the day
Correct.
we realize, then this whole journey begins. Until then,
Definitely.
there are the such pairs of ego and ahankar, but man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, they are all intermingled. There are many theories, but
Certainly,
yes,
certainly.
this is a wonderful. It is parallel to one particular theory which I'm practicing. There we have this. We have cleaning. Cleaning in the evening. We clean all the emotions, negative emotions, and then there is another one great thing: transmission. When there is a vacuum, transmission comes. Transmission is a very ancient technique. It was 62 generations before Raja Dashrath. I'm also a trainer for that heartfulness. So it comes and it fills it up. It's almost a similar.
True.
It's almost a similar thing, but in a different connotation and different way. But sir, you're doing a great thing, Lalitji. I really there are very few people, especially in the field of media. I tell you one thing. Nowadays, my theater persons, people from Bombay, they come to me. I never want to meet them because of spirituality. I better want to write a poem somewhere, read a literature, and have this program. do something different. Because once I look
Correct,
back
correct.
at that atmosphere, you need a great courage, Lalitji. You need a great courage. You have to be very strong. You need a probably the previous lives, that conviction, previous lives carnation is so strong. Your impressions are so strong. Sanskars are so strong. So you are doing it. It's a great, really, I am magnanimity that you visited us. But before that, I would like to ask you one thing. Do you ever feel like, I mean, do you have some memories? Do the memories of Kashmir? Because we are in this Janma. Ultimately, all these things go. Body goes, everything goes, and soul remains, and then the astral body remains. But in this Janma, Lalit Parimoo ji, the legend, the actor of three different wonderful mediums, does he ever regret not being in Kashmir? Does he ever have a vacuum which takes him to the memories of Kashmir? Do you still feel that you need to do something towards Kashmir? Not only recollection, not only the revamping the memories of those times, unyielding the memories of those times. Yeah, please.
Correct, correct. There are so many things. Yes. See, regret is not there, but the missing factor is there. And in my journey, when I visited Kashmir during my shoot, I realized that the power of motherland is tremendous. I realized what merge Kashmir is. See, we all love our mothers. I have my mother, she's still alive. And I have tremendous respect for her and love for her. But then in Kashmir, I realized there is a bigger mother. And I felt her grace on me. I meditated in the Khir Bhavani Mandir and I sat
Oh,
there for nearly 40 minutes. And I realized that this place, I have meditated in many temples. And I realized that this is a very pious place. I realized the power of what in Tantra is said, Tantra Peeth. Our Guru has
Tantra.
explained that there are so many Tantra Peethas all over India. And I'm sure those people who built a temple there, they were aware of this fact that this place is a vibrated place. That's why they built a temple. This place must have been visited by many sadhaks, and for centuries people have done meditation there. That's why there is a tremendous vibration. I could
Swami
feel that
Vivekananda,
vibration
Swami Vivekananda was there. He had gone there. Swami Vivekananda also.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He had also been to
Certainly.
Tullamala, Khir
So
Bhavan.
even at that time, I wanted to start a school of acting there. I did my effort. So I had more. Now see, I'm also now 57. I have still a dream of making a film, which will explain, uh, which will be based on not only Kashmiri problem but Kashmiri psyche. I don't know whether I'll be able to make it or not, but a story has been written. Script is still to be completed. This thing I want to do, and I don't know, I'm not coming in touch with those people who could use my this emotion of working for Kashmiri Pandits. I mean, I tried to set up an acting school in Jammu, but it didn't work out. I can still think on it. I still have this feeling that I should give back to my community. And my area is this, so I can teach them. I can teach them Abhinay Yoga also, I can teach them acting also. They can become professionals or they can earn their money. They can come to Bombay. I'm still thinking how to manage it. Let's see.
Let's see. There's
Going
always
back to Kashmir is also there, but see, the conditions are not so bright. See, to visit
there's
as
a
a visitor
future.
is one thing, but to have a home and live there is another thing.
That's different. That's different.
But let's see.
Certainly, but yet
Let's
again,
see.
this if you have planned a script and you are looking towards that thing, and you have many you opened a acting school here, and you have many other things about Kashmir. That's also great. I mean, that shows the sensitivity of an artist and an evolved soul. And yes, the mother factor is always there, because call up the roots
Oh yes,
in
mother
long
factor
background.
is there. Yeah.
Call up the roots is there because the roots generate into something very exponential power of
And
intelligence
I
and
also believe, I mean, I will connect it with the Tantra of Anandmar. I very strongly believe that Kashmir has a role to spread the knowledge of Tantra.
tantra.
I have written it in Facebook when I was interacting with many people. See, Kashmiri Pandits have been compared to Jews. Haven't you have heard
Yes.
about it?
Yes, yes.
People compare, but they compare it in a different way.
They
I
compare it in
have
a
seen,
negative
I
way.
would like
Negative.
to compare it in a different way. The Jewish culture suffered because Jews did not shoulder the responsibility given to them so far as the religion was concerned. I would say that Kashmiri Pandits were given the responsibility to spread dharma all over the world.
Yes, that was the
And
time.
this duty of Kashmiri Pandits has to be redone now. This has to be done. It is only Kashmiri Pandits, Kashmiri scholars, Kashmiri sadhaks who can revive dharma.
That's
Rest
true.
of the world has to follow. Kashmir has that potential. So this may not happen collectively, it may happen individually by few people. Because Kashmir has a very, very strong base of religion, of spirituality, of yoga,
Spirituality,
tantra, even Bodh culture.
spiritual
All
science,
religions flourished there. Yeah,
Mahayana. Yeah, all that.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, this is
So
wonderful, sir.
I even want to work on. I mean, I would like to share this. That as you said, something doing for the community. I would like to spread the teachings of Tantra, taking the support of Kashmir Shav Darshan for Kashmiri Pandits and teach them the powerful techniques of awakening the Kundalini. I am very sure Kashmiris will move faster than other people. This is my personal belief because they
It's
have a
nowadays
genetic coding.
spiritual quotient is nowadays in thing.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a
Absolutely. The
corporate
spiritual
speaker also.
quotient is high.
I give I give training and to these spiritual training only, but it's not because of organization. So I always talk about these EQ, IQ, and SQ. SQ is in demand everywhere
Correct,
nowadays.
correct.
You have been ever to
Right,
TM?
right.
TM, no experience about TM, transcendental meditation.
Nee, I know about them. Yeah, I was in school only when I learned that. In Kendriya
Where
Vidyalaya, I
you
have
learn.
learned it. Yeah, yeah.
There's a Turiya state also. I was very much impressed once.
Correct, correct.
Anyway, that will be another discussion someday. We'll have another wonderful lecture with you, conversation with you. Before I close up, before I take your last word for the youngsters, youth, and diaspora who are watching this program with so much of love and affection, that don't know, they know they're a fellow. Native Lalit ji is there, a legend already. Uh, just in the lighter vein, I would like to say, who do you think is your, as an actor, because you're a performer, who is your best actor in Indian cinema? I'm talking about the cinema because cinema is which is connects people very much. Let's not talk about theater. Theater personalities we all know, but
Right,
it's not
right.
exposed to the world. Yeah.
You're talking of current generation or you're talking of the mixed
So
generation starting from.
you can talk about 60 years down the line about the half a century.
Okay, okay,
The
okay. Then it's
personalities, yeah,
easy.
as an actor.
See,
Yeah.
one best actor is difficult to say. I can name few. I mean, I would say Dilip Saab, Sanjeev Kumar, Motilal, Amitabh Bachchan. They are the
Okay.
best. Perhaps I think Amitabh Bachchan is still the best. If
He's
you
still the best.
if you combine all aspects of acting, which means commercial part also, which
Commercial
means
part.
money making and managing yourself as a star and all that. Yes, Balraj Sani also. I mean, Nasir Saab, Nana Patekar, they're also very good. We
Yes, right.
have our friend Manoj Bajpayee is also very good.
Manoj is
We have so
good.
many good actors these days. But as you said, over the 60 years down the line, I think
I
at
think
one point I
Motilal,
was very fascinated by Motilal Saab because I realized he's better than even Dilip Saab and other famous actors. He was so effortless, so spontaneous,
yeah, it's like in
and
Hollywood an actor. He was like in Hollywood an actor.
like a Hollywood actor. Yeah, yeah.
No effort, no
At
gestures,
ease. Yeah,
at
yeah.
ease.
At ease with camera.
Motilal ji, is it the Motilal ji who in Devdas comes and meets
Yeah,
him in
yeah.
the train? Huh? What an
Correct.
actor!
Chunni
And
Babu is the
any other movie you remember of Motilal ji?
Mr. Sampath, Mr. and
Mr.
Mrs.
Sam.
Sampath is one film. Even he played older characters in, I think, Raj Kapoor's film or one of the films of Raj Kapoor and
Yeah,
one of the films of Bimal Roy.
Vimal
Parak.
Roy. Vimal da.
Parak is one film which comes to my mind. Yeah.
Correct.
He was in Vakht also as a lawyer, a small role.
Yeah,
If you
lawyer,
remember,
wonderful
Vakht.
lawyer, handsome,
Yeah.
and
Again, very effortless, as if you're seeing some real
Stanislavski an
lawyer.
actor. Stanislavski an actor,
Yeah, yeah.
dressed properly, prepared, and stylish. Those like those lawyers, old lawyers, the versatile lawyers, taunting the youngers,
Correct, correct.
novices, and all that. That's true. I mean, Motilal is he's a really a great Kanhaiya Lal Motilal. Even I have liked Anupam in only two films. I don't like Anupam much, to be very frank. He is a fellow brother, fellow community member. Two films I loved him. Baki he looks like a clown mostly. One was Daddy, and another was Saransh.
Saransh, yeah.
सारांश संध्या छाया पे बेस्ट प्ले था वो, but he
Right, right.
was the par excellence. The rest is all
Correct.
clownish, gesturing here and there. But Saransh is something which I think he must have been 28 at that point of time.
He was 28, I believe, yeah. He was 28, playing a
So
role of
sorry,
60-year-old man.
it was in the lighter vein. And about the director, one more. I take a liberty to take one more question. Director, 50 years span.
50 years down the line. I think early Raj Kapoor films, 3-4 films
Early
of Raj Kapoor,
Aag,
which could be Awara
Aag.
and Shri 420, and maybe one or two more films. Gurudutt, definitely.
Yeah.
Most
Kiski
of
baat
the
kari.
films of Gurudutt. Bimal Roy and Rishida also. Rishikesh Mukherjee, I've always admired him.
Rishikesh, the Chupke
But at the
Chupke.
same time, I have been influenced, or I have admired Satyajit Ray a lot. I think he's one of the
Satyajit
best
Ray,
directors of India.
Pathar Panchali.
He's not known commercially, but he's a great director.
He created everything in his Calcutta.
Yeah,
Started from
and-
pinhole camera, and then he developed his art. Great
Correct.
personalities. I think Bimal Daw and even I have wonderfully. I recently saw his film again, Gurudutt. Gurudutt, I was very fan. Gurudutt's that's the Kagaz ke Phool and Pyasa.
Kagaz Ki Phool, yeah.
My goodness, how he uses the light technique, shadows.
He was pioneer, yeah. He was
He's-
pioneer in that.
And he used
Although
to
it
say
shows
that
the influence of those European filmmakers like Fellini and all. In
yeah.
50s, the new wave cinema of Europe, they used to watch those films. So the inspiration was there definitely from
Yeah, but it was his
the
own
European new
development.
wave films, yeah.
And
But
there
still,
was,
to
there
do
is
it in India with less technological expertise, that was very difficult. Yeah,
very difficult at that point of time.
yeah.
And
he died not even at the age of 40. He left the world at the age of 39. That's amazing.
And he was a choreographer as well, great choreographer.
Yeah.
I mean, Guru, that's one incident I would like to narrate here for the audience and for you as well in the light way. That is that Guru, that once somebody, Pyasa or some producer was not coming up. So he went drunk. He took booze and then knocked at the door of the producer and told him, "Do you know who am I? I am a Kashmiri Sarsad Brahman. My generation is from Kashmiri Sarsad Brahman." Level of that proud that he felt that Padukones, they say that Padukones and Mangeshkars, they trace their origin, Konkans and all, they trace their origins to Kashmiri Brahman. So that's why by that wonderful incident of Gurudutt, I think we come to the conclusion of this wonderful session with Lalitji. Lalitji, we have learned a lot many things today.
Thank you
All
so
the
much.
people have loved you. I am looking at the messages, and yet I think we don't have YouTube subscribers much. I'll send you the YouTube link as well. And
Okay.
people, this was a very enlightening, very experiential program, and we are very much delighted and honored to have you with us. But before you go, I would like to give you a one-liner or two-liner to our youngsters, especially the diaspora, and overall youngsters looking at the new challenges of the universe.
Yes, I would like to say that firstly, be healthy, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And other thing, believe in what you're doing. Just believe in what you're doing and keep on doing.
Keep on. Thank you very much. It's so pleasure, Lalitji, you came.
Same here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Your
Jugalji.
anonymity.
It's
I'm
nice
really,
that you are a call. I'm happy that you're a call. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks a
See
lot.
you
Pleasure.
sometimes.
Good luck. Best of wishes.
Pleasure.
Thank you. So that was Lalit Parimoo, the legend, the native from Kashmir, who has transcended the great fields from theater to television to the films, a spiritual seeker, a voyager, and who has today we could explore the salient features of his life which nobody had seen. It was a very enchanting, very informative opening up program for all of us, not only as a community, all the people who watch this program. I think we're very grateful that he was with us, especially the last part I loved because there are many commonalities between me and him. I am also a bit of actor, bit of theatrist, bit of televisionist, but a bit of spirituality is also there. So thank you very much that you all remain glued to this wonderful program today. I'm really grateful to all of you for remaining an inseparable part of this wonderful program of Sheetalnath Conversations. We meet next Sunday, but next Sunday we have a great surprise. I want you to, to solve this quiz. We had the Three Nightingales 30, 40 years back in Kashmir, Three Nightingales, Kashmiri singers. One among them is living in US, and she will be coming for this program. If you could name her, you please send it in the messages. I'll wait for just half a minute. If it is possible, the one nightingale was Shamima Dev ji. Another is, that this Sadhu, that Kailash Mehra Sadhu ji. And third one is the Aarti Tikku call. So next Sunday, she will be with us on her life, on her music, on her art, on her entire journey, wonderful journey from the Boston. She'll be live with us. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Good night.